Hello, everybody. Thank you for sticking around for a few minutes after we let our Table Takes host go. We are now joined by Kelsey, our community manager, and Jordan, the content manager at Gen Con. And we're going to talk through the announcement about Gen Con having new dates, what that means. We're going to try to answer some questions. So while they're kind of presenting the basic information, if anybody has any questions that they want answered, about what this means or how it might affect you, just ask that in the chat. Just tag Frequent Beef in the chat, and I will make sure that those questions get added to our agenda to tackle. So why don't we start off with what's the basic info that we want to make sure everybody kind of knows and understands about what's happening?
Yeah, let's talk about Gen Con 2021. So, this year has been an adventure for everyone, as has last year. And similar to that, Gen Con this year will also be an exciting new adventure for everyone involved. We have changed our dates. They are now September 16th to 19th. Our goal with that was to try and give people a little bit more space to get vaccinated, or to try and reduce the infection counts as much as possible. But the good news is if you do not feel safe in that environment, we have a bunch of other options for you. We have an online format. If you went to Gen Con Online last year, we're doing round two, baby. It's going to be a lot of fun. I had an extremely good time last year at Gen Con Online, so I'm excited to see that format again. And we are also bringing back Pop Up Gen Con, which, if you've never seen a Pop Up Gen Con before, or if you are unfamiliar with it, or if you have been and you're like, bring me back that sweet, sweet Pop Up, we can cover those details for you as well. So when it comes to Gen Con Indie, there are some differences, obviously, this year compared to other years. The big one being that we for any opportunity of this convention to happen, we needed to start planning now. So there is
Mhm.
a big chance that things might change, and a lot of the information we have right now is very preliminary. So it's going to be pretty vital to keep up with us on social media and on our newsletter so we can give you the most up-to-date information. Jordan here has also put together our beautiful new Zendesk FAQ, which he has been aggressively updating all the time, and is the new happy source for information. I did actually see, Jordan, a ton of people who were like, thank you for making this thorough.
Yeah, we have our very special new knowledge-based FAQ tool. So anytime you're on our website now, you'll see a helpful golden bubble floating in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you can click that, and you can search our FAQ questions in there. So we're excited about that. Make it a little bit easier to access that information.
Yeah, I will also be putting a tool into Discord, so it'll connect right into that Zendesk as well. So if you, like me, exist in Discord 24/7, you can also access our Zendesk 24/7. So we're going to go into a little bit of what Gen Con Indie is going to look like, or what we kind of think it's going to look like right now, what Gen Con Online is going to have, and what pop-up Gen Con is. But the first thing I want to talk about really quick is our dates, how we settled on that, and how it's affecting a good number of our attendees. So when we were trying to adjust our dates for this year, it became abundantly clear that August was not going to be uh, uh, anything that we felt was going to be realistic. And so the only other date option we had was September 16th to 19th. So what we do know about that, and what we knew walking into it, is that date is Yom Kippur. And Yom Kippur is the highest holy holiday for our Jewish attendees and our Jewish vendors. What we did not do is really think about how we were approaching that announcement when we told our attendees that these were new dates. And we didn't investigate thoroughly enough how we were going to talk about that and to help folks participate. Um, so we are kind of taking a step back and addressing how we're looking at that stuff and what we're going to do from here on out. There have been a lot of folks on our social media and in my email and on Reddit and everywhere who've been really rightfully upset and hurt and angry and disappointed. And to be 100% blunt, you have every right to be. This sucks. It isn't fair. Even if we did talk about it in the announcements and addressed it in the announcements, it still doesn't make it fair. It impacts a marginalized group of people in a way that is pretty impossible to deal with in some cases. I spent a lot of time on Reddit and Facebook and Twitter and Discord talking to folks about this, and I'm still listening as much as I can and reaching out to our Jewish attendees and our vendors and organizations in the area to try and figure out how we can help as best we can. Just kind of like we can't really start planning a convention until we have the date. We also really couldn't start planning for this until we had the date too. So we are now really looking for ways we can make this a more full experience for attendees. We know that we're not going to make it like the fullest experience. We know we're not going to be able to make this work for everybody. But we are looking for different solutions. Like how can we help folks who we know aren't going to be able to attend the full convention, who are only going to be able to come for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or just Saturday, Sunday? How can we help folks who are not going to, have access to food before fast and after fast? Can we give options to those folks? Things like that we're still digging into. So I don't have answers for a lot of this yet, but it is something that we are really looking hard at to see how we can help people. I'd also like to address some of the negative stuff that I've seen as a result of this. Gen Con has a pretty hard and fast rule about anti-harassment. And I have seen a lot of anti-Semitic and misogynistic and not great commentary in some of our spaces. And I want to make it clear to folks that those people are not welcome in our spaces. I've been going through and banning them today on our Facebook and on our platforms. And there are even individuals who we're following up with to make sure we can keep our spaces as safe as possible in person too. We know that this is not the best case scenario for a lot of people, and it's going to be really difficult. And if you want to express that and talk to me about that, I am 100% open, and I want to hear and I want to listen, especially critical feedback and any kind of criticism or ideas you have. I am happy to take it. And then next year, we're going to be back on our normal date again for sure. If you do have any thoughts and ideas, you can feel free to email me. My email is kelsey.desrosiers@gencon.com. I'm sure someone can throw it in the chat. We're also going to be making some updates to our blog and a couple other places to talk about these issues, just so it's more clear for folks what our plans are, how we messed up, and how we're going to hold ourselves accountable. So that's the big talking point on dates and on how we ended up there and where we're moving forward from there. But in addition to that, we also have a lot of other details to cover. So, go ahead, Derek.
Before we even get into those details, one question just popped up in chat that I think is probably kind of apt to answer here. Why was that the only date that was available?
So when we talked to the convention center, it was literally our only option for a date. And the convention center, when we work around the convention center, it's acknowledging the fact that like Gen Con takes more space up than pretty much anyone else. These calendars are booked years in advance, and negotiating any kind of date change to something that's booked that far in advance was pretty much impossible. And the other piece that was relevant for us is that we didn't run a convention last year. And running a convention this year is pretty vital to us at this point. If we had any chance of running it at all, this is the date we had to pick. It was either this or nothing. And when it came to that, it was a really hard, crappy choice we had to make that affected a lot of marginalized people.
Do we want to talk more about what the individual, like the components of the show that we've talked about will actually entail? We've talked about how there's going to be a physical show, an online show, pop-up Gen Con. Do you want to go into more detail about what we expect those to look like?
Yeah, let's do it. Jordan, do you want to cover our in-person adventure, and I'll cover our digital adventure, since that is how I began.
Sure. Yeah. So our basic concept here is just to do the best we can with the conditions as they are, and really maintain flexibility for as long as we can to change things, because as we all know, week to week our vision of the future changes radically. But basically, we want to have put on the best experience we can for the most number of people we can fit in. So we're doing this flexible combination of a smaller show in Indianapolis, in the convention center. So attendance will be capped. It will be less than usual. We don't know, we don't have a number for that yet, because it really is going to depend just, on so many factors in the world. And so we're paying really close attention to public health guidelines and projections, and all of the expert advice that we can hear. So it's going to be in the convention center. It will be smaller. There will be some combination of probably mask wearing, social distancing, sanitization. The exact details on that, again, we don't know for sure at this point, but we're paying really close attention to what public health experts advise us to do.
Yeah, it's probably worth noting specifically that we are hoping for the best situation in 6 months that we can get, and part of that is going to require everyone between now and then to continue following all of the health and safety guidelines. Just because we're hoping that we can do Gen Con in 6 months doesn't mean that you shouldn't be wearing a mask now. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have been wearing a mask this entire time. This is not a situation of us being excited that we can finally get back to normal and not worry about things. There's a lot that everybody is going to have to do between now and then to make it actually safe to do in the fall.
Yeah, I think the real highlight here is we are planning for a convention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are planning to have this convention in September, but there is, as we learned in the last 2 years, there is a lot that can happen in 6 months. So we're trying to answer questions, and I think a lot of folks have seen me hopping around the comments trying to answer questions as best I can about what is this going to look like? What's the attendance cap? Am I going to have to be vaccinated? Am I going to have to wear a mask? Like, all these pieces that are for us super tentative right now. So we can guess, but I don't want to guess and then make people scramble and change their plans last minute. So the best thing you can do for yourselves to give us and all of us the best chance about being able to meet in person again for a convention is to continue to stay safe. Get vaccinated if you can. I just got my first vaccine 2 weeks ago, and I'm getting my next one on the 8th. I'm very excited. It hurt a lot.
Still waiting for the news from Washington to tell us when we can get them.
Yeah, I got really lucky because in Pennsylvania, where I live, one of the medical exemptions for if you get a vaccine this phase is if you're obese, and I've never been so happy to be fat in my life. I was like, yes, I'm fat. I can go.
Maybe I should look at our medical exemptions again.
Honestly,
can do.
Yeah, I was shocked that I could apply, and I got it, and I got the Moderna shot. My partner got Pfizer, and so it was actually, we did both have to relentlessly reload our local Rite Aid page to get a vaccine. But it was totally worth it. But yeah, the takeaway is that the best chance we have of doing this is continuing to be safe in your everyday regular lives, because when you're doing that, you're reducing the cases and reducing the risk for everybody else. So we are hoping that as everyone continues to be safe, we can hold a safe convention as well. A lot of the questions I've seen too is like, what is this in-person convention going to look like? Is there going to be a vendor hall? Are there going to be games? Someone asked me very despondently today, will there still be dice? There will always be dice at Gen Con. We're still planning on having a vendor hall. We're still having games in some capacity. We're still kind of figuring that piece out. I don't know if you can talk to that at all, Derek. I know that's
I can a
your
little bit. I mean, like
piece.
similar to how we've talked about how the physical convention is going to have an attendance cap. Um, Events are going to be similarly, if not more, limited. So in a normal year, we have spent years developing relationships and contracts with the hotels and the stadium and the surrounding area around Indianapolis and all that. So when we move our dates, we have to then reshuffle, renegotiate, see what we can arrange for at a lot of those locations. We are, again, with an attendance cap, we're anticipating fewer events. With the constraints that we may be facing on space, that will put a further limitation on events. And then further, because we don't know exactly what the circumstances will be, we are still being cautious and are planning to have events spaced out as much as they reasonably can at the show as well. I mean, even if things are relatively safe at that point, people will still probably not be super comfortable with tight crowds anyway. So we're trying to take all that into consideration. And what that very likely will mean is that events will be fairly limited, both in terms of how many events there are, who's able to run events, what kind of events they're able to run. The details of what that looks like will be determined once we have had a chance to kind of fully discuss with, the companies that run events, the independent gaming groups that run events, the GMs that have been running events for longer than I've been employed at the company. Those are the folks that we need to talk to over the next several weeks to figure out how many of them feel like they're in a position to attend the show, what they want to do if they are able to attend the show, and that kind of stuff. So once we're able to get a sense of that, we'll have a better idea of exactly what events will look like. But we are doing the best we can to make sure that as much of that Gen Con experience of being able to play games is preserved in this new format and wild year that 2021 has so far even has been.
Yeah, and I think the same goes for our vendor hall too. Like shortly before we made the announcement to everybody else, we did reach out to our vendors to let folks know what the situation was and see who was able to go forward with our new dates and who needed accommodations or help and who wouldn't be able to attend. So it's still going to have a vendor hall. We are still confirming with folks who will be a part of that vendor hall, but that is the game plan too, because I, like everyone else, spend too much money at Gen Con, and I think that is a remarkable part of the experience there. So there will be some familiar elements to it, but it will very much be a different environment for us this year.
That part translated over to Gen Con Online to me, for me too. I ordered so many games there. I got a couple of Kickstarter notifications recently of games that I forgot that I had decided to order based on that. But I think one of the reasons that we're excited to continue being able to include Gen Con Online programming going forward is that it did surprisingly feel like Gen Con to a surprising degree for a lot of us, I think.
Yeah.
So, prepare your wallets.
On that note, do we want to talk a little bit more about Gen Con Online?
Yes.
There is a question in chat about whether it will be free. We probably want to talk a little bit about what it will entail, because not everybody who's watching necessarily participated or paid attention to Gen Con Online last year. Do you want to go into a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, let me talk about Gen Con Online. Pew 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 pew. So Gen Con Online is Gen Con from your own home. If you participated last year, you probably saw our buck wild streaming schedule, our infinite pile of events that literally went 24 hours a day, and our crazy Discord chat, and sleepless conversations, and at one point, our president of the board, Peter, just getting onto a Zoom call with a bunch of attendees and drinking whiskey. And I am imagining it's going to be a round two of all of those experiences. Maybe not the Peter part. I don't know about that. But what you can expect for Gen Con Online is online gaming for sure, especially because we are not going to be able to support every format of typical gaming we have during the physical present indie. We are still having a ton of online games. We're still going to have a ton of live streams. Our Discord community will be popping again. I am somehow going to be in both places at once. I will replicate myself somehow. It's going to be pretty similar to how we ran it in 2020. So if you went, be prepared for a repeat. As far as costs, I think we are going to have a ticket cost associated with that, but I don't know what that price is going to be. And I don't know, like someone had a question yesterday is like, do I need access to a Gen Con online ticket if I want access to like a digital vendor hall? And to be honest, I don't know yet. We're kind of still figuring those pieces out.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is that it's unlikely that there will be any sort of batch cost. So it really should resemble last year's Gen Con Online. Full details will be announced soon. But the way that it worked last year is the badge for Gen Con Online was free. That allowed you to register for events. Most of the events, but not all of the events, did have a ticket cost that was associated with those events. So it depends. Like, I guess the answer really depends on what you want to participate in. If you want to play a lot of games, then there probably will be some costs associated with that. If you just want to hang out in Discord, or if you want to see what some of the new releases are, if you want to watch the Twitch streams, there's obviously no cost associated with those things.
Yep. So the social portions and the live streaming portions, I'm sure, will be a free for all, but the ticketed game events will be still some of them cost associated, and a lot of that is just to ensure that the players who sign up actually appear, because once you put in $1 investment, I think it's easier for people to commit. And then the other thing we're doing this year for folks who still want to have some level of physical participation but can't necessarily make it to Indy is pop-up Gen Con, which is new to me. This is a thing I have never done. This was before my time.
Well, yeah, we did pop-up Gen Con, debuted in 2019. This, it activates your friendly local game store at the same time as Gen Con, where participating publishers will ship demo copies of new games that are Gen Con releases to your store, and you can go and demo them. And yeah, we debuted that in 2019, and it was a success. And we weren't able to do it last year, but we're excited to bring that back to add another level of flexibility, more opportunities to participate. And in this case, it's really it allows your or if participating, a participating store to really structure that event that in a way that works, in their community and based on conditions there. Some of them will have games or contests, or people will dress up, or there's a lot of flexibility there. So that'll happen at the same time as Gen Con. The main day will be Saturday of Gen Con, but some stores also have the option to do more programming throughout the weekend or in the days before.
Yeah, and I believe that the way the registration works, that is, it's still through the main Gen Con website. It'll bring up a list of all the stores that are participating, and you can sign up for one. There, like everything else, is going to be a limited capacity, so you're not going to make sure to sign up quickly. And if you don't see a game store local to your list, or if you are a game store owner and you're like, I would like to participate in this thing, definitely check the FAQ. We have a link on there. I think that it just leads to the email to contact us customer service at GenCon.com.
There's also, if you go on to GenCon.com now, under the host tab, there's a page that's a pop-up Gen Con host, and there's some info there, and also a contact email if you're a store and you're interested in finding out more.
Yeah, I know that I think in 2019 the gaming store in the town I live now participated, and they recently found out I am associated with Gen Con, and I went there last week to go pick up Wingspan because I need that game because it's about birds. And they were asking me about pop-up Gen Con while I was there, and I was like, oh no, it's a mystery. So it'll be cool to see that in my town as well.
Yeah, so I'm personally very excited that we're continuing Gen Con Online. I think a lot of the intent behind, the kind of three-pronged approach, what's been called hybrid approach in a couple different places, is to try to make sure that we are figuring out some way to allow folks to participate in Gen Con this year in a way that, I guess, matches their comfort level or their availability, whether that's due to the date change, whether that's due to their health and safety concerns, whether that's due to economic realities that they have to face this year. There should be some way for you to get involved in Gen Con if you are excited about Gen Con, basically.
Yeah. our goal is to continue to try and get as many people in touch with each other and with games to see what's happening next and what's happening this year and remain connected. I know for many folks, Gen Con Online was not like their ideal format. I saw a lot of comments like, man, I wish that I could actually like see my friends or see gaming in person. And I super feel that. But I do think that this like three-pronged approach we're doing gives folks the best chance that no matter what situation that you're in, you should still be able to dive into some piece of Gen Con.
Yeah, and the different formats have different things that they're, just like, everyone who goes to Gen Con, has a different experience. Like you could easily go to Gen Con and just spend all day, every day walking around the exhibit hall, or you could be just in one, hotel ballroom playing the games that you love all weekend. And I think, similarly, we hope that, this makes, an even wider range of possibilities for you. So, maybe you're going down to pop-up Gen Con at your game store on Saturday, and then on Sunday, you're watching our streams and, schedule a bunch of RPGs through Gen Con Online. Maybe even you're in Indianapolis and you go to the convention one day, and then the next day, that night or the next day, you're doing something online. So, they're not mutually exclusive. And we hope that, by, choosing one or combining one or more, that if you want to, you're able to find a way to join us.
Great.
Yeah.
So why don't we get into some of the questions? I think we've run fairly long already, but see what we can get more information for folks.
Sure.
So when does Badge and Hotel Reg open?
That's the magic question. The answer right now is we don't know. As soon as we do know, like as soon as we have the date in mind, I will be posting it everywhere. I will have smoke signals out sent into the heavens, and I will buy an airplane with one of those banners to fly around all major cities and rural cities, every city, so everyone knows.
That's a pretty big commitment you're making.
I know.
We have a sponsor. We have an airplane.
It's an airplane sponsor. Our sponsor. We actually bought an airline. It's Gen Con Air. Con Air is a great movie.
Wow. On a similar note, what is the attendance cap? How many people are going to be at Gen Con?
Currently, we really genuinely don't know. And because for anyone who like reads the news, so much is changing so rapidly that I don't want to put out even a prospective number without knowing that I'm going to have to change it in like a daily or weekly basis.
Yeah.
And
on that,
go ahead.
Sorry. You're probably going to say the same thing that I was going to say, but
I don't know. Let's find out. You say it.
That we don't know what the number is going to be, but for everyone who rolled over their badge from last year, our intention is that everyone who rolled over their badge will be able to come if they want to, and that then the availability above that is what'll be dependent on whatever cap is we end up having to impose.
On that note, because this question does come up a lot to me, a big one I get is like, how do I know if my badge has been rolled over? Check your account on Gen Con because it should already be there. And if it is not there, then contact customer service. Yes. But for everyone who has rolled over a badge, it should already be there.
What about for the folks who maybe don't feel comfortable attending this year for whatever reason? They can't attend, they don't feel comfortable attending. Can they roll their badge over again to next year?
Yes.
Yes,
we
absolutely.
are doing full rollovers and refunds for folks as necessary. We totally get it if you don't feel safe. We want you to come back when you feel safe to in person at Gen Con. So it's totally valid. And
if you do want to roll it over, if you could let us know as soon as you can, that's really helpful. But if you want to have your badge rolled over to the following year, you'll be guaranteed the same price. You won't be charged anything more to go the next year. And if you just email customer service and ask them to take care of that for you. And again, we totally get it. It's, not everyone is going to be comfortable attending, it may not work out. And so we want to definitely give you that flexibility to either roll it over or get a refund or get system credit. Our beautiful customer service angel, Mike Boozer, will help you.
What about, do you want to talk about what steps we're taking or we expect we may have to take to keep people safe at the show? Will people have to wear masks? Will they need to be vaccinated? What do you want to explain about that?
Here is the right now plan. the right now plan is masks. Everybody gets a mask, regardless if you're vaccinated or not. We are not requiring vaccinations at this time. It's might change. I don't know. Like the many other I don't know parts there are, but we will update folks if that's necessary. We in the conversations that we've had with the convention center, they have super heightened a lot of their health and safety measures. They have basically put forward a promise, which I think that statement's on their website. I'll have to dig it up. I should have done it for this, but I forgot, about what they're doing so far and how they plan on keeping up with their health and safety commitments. There's also going to be mandated social distancing, and probably in addition to the attendance cap, probably timed entries too, but I'm not positive about that one yet. But the goal is, for those of you who have been to Gen Con before, you know that especially like Thursday of the vendor hall, it becomes a sea of humans. And our goal is to not have a sea of humans. Our goal is to have perhaps a small socially distanced herd of
It's like a delta.
Ooh, a delta. Yeah.
It's a system of estuaries.
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps like a coordinated Canadian goose triangle. That would be good. 6 feet apart triangle. So we're trying to figure out the best way to do that, but for sure that's the big part of keeping people safe for us.
Well, we talked about this a little bit, but again, I kind of want to hit some of these questions to make sure that folks who may have joined later get the information too. But what about events? What is that going to look like?
We're having them. They're going to be different. So Derek went over this a little bit, but basically we're going to still have gaming. We're going to still have events. The kinds of events and gaming we're going to run is going to be different. It's going to change based on what games we can safely run, considering social distancing requirements. And what kind of events are going to be available to us. We did get confirmed, which I'm actually pretty excited about, that True Dungeon is still going to be there. I am excited to see what that's going to look like for this year, because it's going to be weird. And in addition to the events that we're having in person at Gen Con Indy, we will have quadruple million 70,000 games, which I am now committing.
Derek, that is definitely not
a lot of work for Derek.
I tell you right now,
Derek has agreed that there will be an indescribable number of.
Your reign of lies can no longer continue. I'm sorry, Kelsey, you've been cut off.
No, my reign of lies.
Jordan, would you like?
Would you like to try that one?
Will there be an exhibit hall?
There will be an exhibit hall. And like Kelsey said, we're looking for ways to make sure everyone who's been to Gen Con knows that giant sea of humans knows that that's not something anyone's going to feel comfortable being in by September. So
you didn't feel comfortable in it when things were normal.
Well, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, so there will be an exhibit hall, and our operations and exhibitor folks are looking into the best way to modify that to make it as safe as possible.
Do you want to give another quick summary about Pop-Up Gen Con, or do you think we've covered that enough?
Sure. Pop-Up Gen Con is our special program activating retail locations. So that's friendly local game stores who apply to participate. We'll put on local events the same time as Gen Con. Saturday is the main day, but though they have the option to expand that to other days and to offer gaming or other types of events. But we'll have a bunch of publishers will sign up to participate who are releasing games at Gen Con, and they'll ship demo copies of those games to our pop-up Gen Con stores. So even if you can't join us in Indy, it might be that your favorite FLGS is putting on a pop-up Gen Con, in which case you could go down and maybe demo and order a new game, or play something with folks from your community. So that's a program we started in 2019. We're not able to do last year, but bringing back for 2020 to happen at the same time as our convention in Indy and our Gen Con Online program.
So we do have a couple questions from chat we want to get into, unless there's anything else that you want to make sure to tackle first. I feel like you've run through what you want to run through.
So yeah, Just that if you have any additional concerns or questions, feel free to reach out, and we'll try and get them answered for you as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, so like, if anybody has a question that comes up after the stream, or they're, they don't feel like they got their full answer during the stream, certainly hit us up on Twitter, on Discord, via email, and we will attempt to get you squared away as best we can.
Yeah, that is me answering all of those things. So this is the face that will be answering your questions. So
remember that there's a face on the other end of it. So to get into some questions from chat.
Yeah.
One question we had was, what feedback has Gen Con gotten from vendors, big and small? A lot of them have mentioned how vital conventions are to their business. So do we have anything that we can share about the reaction we've received from some folks from the news?
Yeah. So our exhibitor go-to guru, Limar, has been kind of sorting through the vendor reactions from folks, and it has been pretty mixed. So we are seeing a couple folks back out, which is understandable because it is in a slew in the middle of other conventions. But we also have seen a lot of smaller and larger vendors completely commit and are ready for the date change. I don't have like the exact names of who's participating. I didn't check up on that before I was here. But I do know that having our vendors there is a pretty vital part of this process, obviously. So we want to make sure that as many of our vendors are there who are comfortable to be there. I'm just going to pull this question from chat too, because I just saw it happen. When we asked who backed out. I don't have that answer, and I don't want to speak for companies that haven't publicly announced it yet. So I kind of want to respect their privacy on that matter until they make their own decisions on how they're going to announce and go forward with that. But when we do have a definitive list of the vendors who are going to be there, we're going to announce that.
Yeah, we'll have, individual companies may make announcements sooner, but it'll be when we have the list and the map ready closer to the show, we'll definitely release that, but that's not something we know right now.
It is probably worth noting a couple of things. There's that one, companies will announce their attendance at Gen Con or not when it is best for them to do so, when they've confirmed it, whenever they think it's appropriate. It's also probably worth reminding anybody that if a company that you really wanted to see at Gen Con says that they're not able to attend this year, please remember to respect their decision on that. There's a lot of factors that might have gone into it. It's very unlikely that they did not want to attend, but that they're just not able to for any of a variety of reasons. So especially for this year, we're a quarter of the way through 2021, and it's already dramatically complicated for a variety of reasons. So just extend everybody as much patience and understanding as you can, especially the companies that make the games that you love, that you want to see at the show. What about another question we had was, what about Lucas Oil Stadium and kind of other spaces for the show? Is the convention only going to be in the convention center?
It will not be only in the convention center. In terms of exactly where it will be and in what form, that's all still being worked out. I don't think we have we're going to have specific answers from that. I see that the question was from
Check Games Edition.
Okay, yeah. So if it's, you could definitely reach out to your exhibitor contact to see if there's logistical questions. But it will not be only in the convention center, but where else it will be, we are not sure yet. It's all early days, as the Brits might say.
Yeah, I mean, part of social distancing and setting this up is seeing how far basically we could spread this stuff to make sure, we had the space to do all the things we wanted to, and had the space to have the attendees that we need. So accessing as much space as possible within safety regulations is kind of our goal with this. So I would expect to see a broad Gen Con.
So another question we have is that, a lot of people decide their attendance for Gen Con based off of what events are going to be there. They decide whether to go to convention because whether it's going to have the things that they want to play. Do we know if people will have a chance to see that event schedule before they buy a badge?
I don't know, Derek, will they?
We will certainly when we announce badge registration, we will certainly give the best characterization that we can. And I mean, Derek can speak obviously better to the event schedule, but yeah, I mean, absolutely get that. There's a lot of uncertainty, and obviously, if you're making a decision about whether or not you want to go, you want to know what it's going to be like, and we'll definitely release the information that we have, or characterize our expectations as clearly as we can throughout the coming months.
Yeah, I mean, we will release event details as soon as we possibly can. When the event schedule comes out, it's probably going to be fairly close to the show. It's unlikely to be more than 2, 3, 4 months out from the show, to be honest. When individual gaming groups or companies confirm that they will be at the show and what their personal schedule or their slice of it will look like, when that is released is going to depend a lot on when they are able to confirm their plans for attendance, when we're able to confirm their space, when they're able to confirm whether their staff can attend. So you'll probably see individual companies confirming they're doing X or Y or something like that over the course of the next several months. The one thing to keep in mind is that with an attendance cap, it's really hard to tell whether any of that will happen before we are sold out based on what that attendance cap is. And until we have a sense of that, it's really hard to give any suggestions or clear guidance on that, to be honest. So that is another huge monkey wrench that will kind of be thrown into the usual cycle of how people engage with Gen Con this year.
Yeah. I mean, my personal goal with all of this is to be as transparent as possible about where we are, where things are at, what we know 100% before badge reg. So you can make the best decisions you can about what attendance is going to be best for you. Mm-hmm. So while I don't specifically have a timeline on like, when is this going to happen? When are we going to know these things? What I can promise you is that by time badge reg happens, as much information as I have will be in your hands as we can give to you. So you can make that choice as best you can.
Another question that we had is for people who rolled over badges, are they going to get first access to anything like hotel registration or events before general badges open?
I don't think we've talked about specifically if they're getting first access to events and hotels.
Well, so I mean, there's nobody who gets first access to either of those things already. Yeah. Basically, VIGs have a separate housing block that they have access to that has its own timeline, but they don't necessarily get first access to a thing. It's certainly not to events, really. So I would not expect that there's going to be any early access period for folks who have rolled over badges or who already have badges, beyond making sure that folks who have rolled over or donated badges or anything like that have first opportunity to confirm that they do want to attend this year before any attendance cap is hit.
Yeah. I think that the biggest point there is that like if you rolled over, your attendance is guaranteed. Unless like the world ends, which hey man, fingers crossed. But beyond that, it's still the same kind of event system and hotel system we've had before.
Another question we had was about the timeline.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people in chat have been asking questions, and a lot of them are very understanding that a lot of stuff hasn't been figured out yet because we had to determine the dates, and then that trickles out and has a huge impact on a wide variety of people. Can you talk about what timeline we're hoping to be able to have more information on, or when people should expect more details to make sure they don't miss out on any of that information?
I think the best answer for that, and this is a sucky answer, is as soon as possible. It is, so when I say that like we announced this date so we could start planning, I literally mean we announced this date and we are now starting to plan, because now we can confirm our vendors, now we can confirm what spaces are going to be completely available to us, now we can figure out all of those details, but we needed to get past this first announcement and this first date in order to do that. So I think our goal from here is to figure out what that timeline is going to be so we can give people a more solid understanding of like, okay, cool, what are the next steps for you guys? And that way everyone else can plan what they're doing too. Oh, Brian's in here. Hi, Brian. Brian's one of the people who's been helping me figure out a lot of the Yom Kippur stuff. He's pretty cool.
Well, I think we've run through most of the questions that have come up in chat. Is there anything that we've talked about that you want to reiterate or remind people about or touch on again?
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about. I'm gonna do like the big overview, and if anyone has like any last minute questions, I'm reading chat if anyone has anything. We're having 3 different kinds of conventions, three flavors of Gen Con, and our Gen Con
Neapolitan. It's a Neapolitan ice cream
Neapolitan.
sandwich this year.
Do we have to decide which one is which?
That's what I
flavor
was just
now?
going to ask. Which flavor is which? I feel
It's
like Gen
loaded-
Con
it's a loaded
Indie is probably
question.
vanilla because it is vanilla. I want Gen Con Online to be chocolate because it's like my fun darkness Gen Con. So I
Yeah,
guess
chocolate's
pop-up.
the best.
Yeah. Also,
Pop-up's
my
the
Discord
strawberry.
Strawberry's the wild card.
Strawberry's the wild card. Strawberry's pop-up Gen Con. So there you go. That's your big takeaway from this is Gen Con.
But it's
now
all
Neapolitan ice.
It's all contained within the ice cream sandwich. What do you call it? Cookies? Whatever. That is Gen Con. No matter what types of ice cream you're consuming, it's all wrapped up in the Gen Con cookie sandwich.
It's delicious. So you may choose your flavor of Gen Con or multiple flavors of Gen Con ice cream sandwich that you would like. There will be an in-person Gen Con with an attendance cap. We will have more details about that attendance cap will look like, and if there's going to be additional tickets available once we determine what our attendance is going to be. That was a question in chat over there. Is there a chance no new tickets will be available? That is a chance, yes. Once we know how many of our folks who have rolled over are going to attend, that will dictate whether or not we can put new tickets out in addition to like once we figure out what our actual attendance cap is going to look like. So keep tuned for that once we figure that piece out.
And there's also a possibility of, it may be that we have a certain cap that we need to set when badge registration opens, but that could be raised later. There's as with all of this, there are kind of flexible scenarios, but so there is a chance of that, and we should know more when we get closer to badge reg opening.
Yeah, and to that same end, is there a chance the cap will be less than the amount of pre-sold tickets? I don't think so. I don't think that is a possibility at this point, but like many things in our world, it's like if things get terrible, yes.
Our intention is definitely, though, for everyone who rolled over to have the option to attend.
And I do think it's important to remember that if things don't continue on their current positive trajectory and things open up too fast and things start getting really bad again, and they start getting bad enough to the point where we have to worry about the cap being lower than pre-sold tickets, or we have to worry about another question came up in chat about whether or not people would be allowed to enter booths in the exhibit hall, or if they'd have to stay out of them and stuff like that. I suspect that if we were to get into a situation that would be that risky, then we're starting to get into territory where we have to consider the fundamental format of the convention, and we have to start again reconsidering whether or not will be feasible to hold the show at all. So again, just because we are announcing that we hope for this to happen and that this is what we are planning towards doesn't mean that we won't be prepared to adjust those plans to match the health and safety guidelines and policies that everyone should be abiding between now and then anyway.
Correct.
Yeah, we've done a lot. We've done a lot of research and work, and we're confident in our plan, and we're cautiously optimistic. But we're not. It's not set in stone, and we're not going to do anything that if the conditions change, then we'll change too.
So in addition to that, I think regardless of whether we have an in-person Gen Con or not, we're still going to have a Gen Con online. So that is something you can certainly commit to. And at Gen Con Online, there will be events, there will be Discord, there will be live streams. There will be maybe Kelsey and Jordan in more fun new outfits for you to see. That's my commitment right here and now. Now I'm committing everyone to everything today.
All right. So Marcus, if you could just cut Kelsey's mic and prevent any other commitments from being made, that'd be appreciated. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've got 20 Slack notifications. So
no. And then we will also have pop-up Gen Con at your friendly local game store to participate in some new debuts and demos there as well. So the best way you can keep up with this information is watch our social media spaces, watch our newsletter, watch our blog. And to reiterate again what I said at the start of this live stream, I forgot the word live stream for a minute. My brain said ice cream, and I'm like, this isn't ice cream. I'm still thinking about ice cream. To reiterate what I said at the beginning of this live stream, wow, I'm a king today. We know how much it sucks and how much we hurt and disappointed people by making this happen during Yom Kippur. This was the only date we had to do this, the only chance we had to run a convention. And it is putting a lot of marginalized people in a really tough and unfair situation. And for that, we're sorry. And we do have some updates with that. We didn't make enough talking points about that in the announcement itself, and that was our fault. And we're starting to look at, for the Jewish folks who are choosing to attend, how we can best make it easy and safe for them to do so. So keep an eye out for that too. And I'll be talking more about what's coming next for those pieces as we arrive to them. But in the meantime, if you have anything you would like to talk to me about, if you have any thoughts about that, about Gen Con Indie, about Gen Con Online, about how great cats are, about Wingspan, which I bought, then you can come see me on Discord. You can send a message to the Gen Con Facebook page. You can send a message to the Gen Con Twitter. And I will receive all of those things, and I will read them and respond to them as best as I am able to. And if you have any feedback you want to give, you can send an email to customerservice@gencon.com. Or if you have feedback for me specifically, you can send an email to kelsey.desrosiers@gencon.com, and I will be happy to house that as well.
All right. Well, thank you to Kelsey and Jordan for joining us. I think our initial, it'll be a 20 or 30-minute chat, has blossomed into a much longer conversation. I would not be surprised if we end up needing to have a few more of these. This is, again, a very chaotic year. We appreciate everyone's patience as we figure out what we will be able to do through this. We understand that this is going to be a challenge for everyone. So we're doing the best that we can. Once we have more information, we will share it with everybody. And I imagine that we will have at least one or two more of these over the next several months. But that's not all we do on Twitch. So on Monday,
play the hits.
Kelsey, this is a project that's close and personal to your heart. Monday, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific, we will have the second session of our Villainous tournament. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm playing in this one. I had to. Again? I am playing Maleficent in the Villainous tournament, and I am excited and terrified. I had to deeply upgrade my costume and cosplay game because I saw Amari, who is cosplaying Cruella de Vil, and I was like, well, now I have to. On my desk, actually, is a bunch of painted fake nails that I've been working on. So get ready for that, and get ready for these. You can't see them, but in the background on my chair, I have a bunch of fake horns and a fake crow too.
So I hear that you say that you are the world foremost best expert at Villainous, and none can defeat you in any capacity whatsoever. And if you even face a single loss in the tournament, you will attend Gen Con in full cosplay.
I would do that anyway. Are you kidding me? That sounds great. Here's the thing, Derek, is you can say these things and I'll be like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I know how that mind works. So 4 to 6 p.m. on Monday, we have Villainous tournament. That's going to be the second of 4 weeks that's going to run. And then at 6 p.m. we have Board Games with the Brothers Murph. two brothers playing board games at home together and hanging out with chat. They're very fun, companionable guys. Wednesday at 1:30 p.m., This Game Gets Dicey, where folks, Paul and Matthew, play games online. So you get to see what some of if you haven't taken the leap yet, they can show you what some games being played online look like. And then Friday at 2 p.m., we have Table Takes, which I hope some of you joined us for today. I will be out the next 2 weeks for that, but we will have some very special guest hosts. Noir Enigma this week
So
is filling in
excited.
for me. And we'll be talking, I believe, an interview with the creators of Capers, which was one of the RPGs that we previewed at the Gen Con Spring Showcase a week or two ago at this point.
Noir very rapidly became one of my favorite humans during Spring Showcase. He's so great.
Mm-hmm. So he will be taking my place next week. So come by, see him, and support him in the show. Thank you to everybody who stuck around and watched. Thank you for everybody who asked questions. Again, if you have anything else, contact us on social media, on Discord, or via email. If you missed anything on Twitch, if you're joining us now, this will all be on YouTube about 24 hours later. Make sure to hit up our Discord to talk to any other Gen Con fans about what's going on. Kelsey, Jordan, thank you again for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Marcus, for producing. And hopefully we will see all of you again soon, safe and sound.
Yeah, see you soon.